Title: A Web of Obsession. Part 1: Unraveling Memories. I never thought my life would be the stuff of a suspenseful thriller. But here I am, recounting the tale of my ex-boyfriend, a man who walked the thin line between love and obsession, leaving me trapped in a web I never saw coming. It all began innocently enough. Michael and I met during our college years. He was charismatic, funny, and incredibly charming. Our love story blossomed amidst the campus hustle, and for a while life seemed perfect. But as time went on, cracks started to appear in our relationship. Innocent disagreements morphed into intense arguments, and I started to notice Michael's possessive streak. Part 2: Signs of Trouble. The first red flag came when I mentioned spending time with my friends. His face contorted and he urged me to reconsider. "They're not your real friends," he whispered. I brushed it off as a minor incident, attributing his behavior to stress. However, as the weeks passed, his paranoia grew. One evening, he accused me of flirting with a coworker. I was dumbfounded by his baseless accusation, but he was adamant, spewing venomous words that left me shaken. And then came the apologies, the flowers, the promises that things would change. I allowed myself to believe him, ignoring the unsettling feeling that had settled in my gut. Part 3: The Breaking Point. As time went on, the emotional roller coaster continued. I began tiptoeing around his ever-changing moods, afraid to set him off. The real breaking point arrived when I was offered a dream job in another city. I was overjoyed, but my excitement was short-lived. Michael's reaction was explosive. He accused me of trying to escape him, of abandoning our relationship. His words were suffocating, his grip on me tightening. That night, I realized I couldn't go on like this. The toxicity of our relationship had consumed me, and I knew I needed to break free. I summoned the courage to confront him, explaining that I needed space to grow as an individual. He stared at me, his eyes devoid of emotion, before storming out of my apartment. Part 4: The Unraveling. In the aftermath of our breakup, I experienced both relief and heartache. I was determined to move on, rebuild my life, and rediscover the person I had lost in the haze of our relationship. But Michael's grip on my life was far from over. He started showing up unannounced, sending long, emotional emails and even leaving gifts outside my door. At first, I thought he was merely trying to win me back, but his actions became increasingly erratic. He would send me messages recounting our most intimate moments, using them as leverage to manipulate my emotions. Part 5: The Depths of Obsession. It wasn't until I discovered that he had been tracking my online activity that I truly realized the extent of his obsession. He knew where I was, what I was doing, who I was talking to, every detail of my life. Fear settled in, and I realized I was dealing with something far more sinister than a broken heart. I sought legal help, but Michael was clever. He left no concrete evidence of his actions, making it difficult to prove his guilt. The situation escalated when he showed up at my workplace, prompting my colleagues to become concerned for my safety. Part 6: Breaking Free. The turning point came when I met Sarah, a cybersecurity expert who offered her assistance. Together, we began gathering the pieces of the puzzle Michael had constructed. With her guidance, I learned how to protect my online presence, secure my personal information, and document his harassment. The more we uncovered, the more terrifying the truth became. Michael had compiled an extensive dossier on me, with photos, locations, and even a detailed timeline of my activities. It was a chilling reminder that the man I had once loved had transformed into a stranger consumed by his obsession. Part 7: Confronting the nightmare armed with evidence, I decided it was time to confront Michael and put an end to this nightmare. I arranged to meet him in a public place with Sarah close by, ready to intervene if necessary. As he walked in, his eyes bore into me with a mixture of desperation and rage. I held out the evidence, watching his composure crumble as he realized his carefully constructed facade was unraveling. He stammered, trying to explain himself, but his words were feeble compared to the weight of his actions. With a newfound strength, I told him to stay out of my life and walked away, leaving him to grapple with the consequences of his obsession. Part 8: Reclaiming My Life. The following weeks were a process of healing and rebuilding. With Sarah's support, I took legal action against Michael, ensuring he could no longer terrorize me. I focused on my career, rekindled old friendships, and discovered new hobbies that brought me joy. Looking back, I realized that my story was not one of victimhood, but of resilience. I had escaped the clutches of an obsessive ex-boyfriend, emerging stronger and more empowered than ever before. My experience had taught me the importance of setting boundaries, recognizing red flags, and seeking help when needed. Today, as I share my story, I hope to shed light on the dangers of obsession and the importance of speaking out against harassment. I am proof that even in the darkest of times, there is a way to break free from the web of manipulation and fear